Hello friends, how are you all? I hope that you all are doing well. Today we are going to start with a new poem and the name of our poem is Chivy. Now this is a poem which is written by Michael Rosen. And before we enter into reading this poem and learning about this poem, we are going to understand the meaning of the word chivy. Chivy word usually means to nag or to tell constantly about something, do this, don't do that or do that. So constantly telling somebody, repeatedly telling somebody about something is called chivy, to nag. Okay, so let's start reading our poem. So we'll read this poem one by one. This poem, how is Michael Rosen able to relate to this poem? So he's able to relate to this poem. He shares an instance from his childhood. When he was a child, what happened? Michael's mother took him to a school for admission. So the principal or the teacher who was taking the interview, she asked that, what's your name? So Michael said, Michael don't. So he was so he was so full of hearing Michael don't do this, don't do that all the time. So he introduced himself as Michael don't. So on the basis of that, he's written this poem. So let us read this poem now. Grown up says things like, now grown ups means our elders, okay, our parents. Grown up says things like, speak up, don't talk with your mouth full, don't stare, don't point, don't pick your nose. These are the few things that our elder people say, like, just speak up, why are you so silent? Don't stare. When we keep on staring somebody, let's say we are at the restaurant, we are continuously staring at somebody, so they tell us that don't stare. Stare means to look at somebody constantly. Don't point out, oh, that is just the same watch as mine. So we are pointing out, our parents will tell, don't point out like that. Don't pick your nose. So these are few of the things our parents tell not to do. Okay. So sit up, say please, less noise, shut the door behind you, don't drag your feet, haven't you got a hanky? Take your hands out of your pockets. So you will be very well able to relate all these things that our parents tell us, that sit up, say please, if you want anything, just say please, less noise, make less noise, don't talk so loudly, shut the door behind you, don't drag your feet. Whenever we walk while dragging our feet, our elders tell us, don't drag your feet, walk properly. So haven't you got a hanky? Take your hands out of your pocket. Suppose you're walking like that, putting your hands in your pocket. So they ask you to take your hands out. These are the common things our parents, our grown-ups tell us all the time. So it will be very easy for you guys to relate. Okay, so the next stanza goes up like, pull your socks up, stand up straight, don't stand like this, stand up straight. Say thank you. Whenever somebody gives you something, your elders tend to tell you, say thank you. Don't interrupt. Don't say in between when two people are talking. No one thinks you're funny. Take your elbows off the table. These are the things our parents tell us. Okay. Now, the last stanza says, can't you make your own mind up about anything? Okay, so here it talks about, can't you think on your own what you have to do next? So this is a poem by Michael Rosen and I hope it is clear to you. Now we'll be moving on to the question answers of this poem. Let's move on. Now the first question is, when is a grown-up likely to say this, don't talk with your mouth full? Just think about it. It's a very simple question. When do you think a grown-up will tell you that don't talk with your mouth full? A grown-up will tell you that don't talk with your mouth full only when you are eating and you are talking. So whenever you are doing that, you are going to be told by a grown-up that don't do that way. Okay, don't talk while eating. Now the next question is, when are you likely to be told this? Say thank you. When are we told? Just think about it. When are we asked to say thank you? We are asked to say thank you whenever we receive a gift or we receive a favor from anybody. Okay, so that's when we are supposed to say thank you, or even when we are receiving a service from somebody. For example, you go to a restaurant, somebody gives you water, like the servant serves you food or water or anything, you are supposed to say thank you. Okay, so that's when you are supposed to say thank you. Now the next question is, When do you think an adult would say this? No one thinks you're funny. Okay, now what happens sometimes, say your mother knows that you sing really well and you have a get together and your mom is insisting you on singing something, but you are not, you're feeling very shy. So that is the moment when a parent will say that nobody thinks you're funny, you can do it. So that's when somebody will say you are that no one thinks you're funny, you are going good, so you should perform this. Whenever you think that everybody will think you funny and you feel like underconfident about anything, that's when your parents will tell you that it's not funny, you can do this. Okay, this is the first way when the parents can say that it's not funny. And the other way, when you're doing useless things, that's also when your parents can say it's not funny what you think. When if you are cracking a joke in the middle of any conversation, this is the second part when your parents can use this line. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. In the last two lines of the poem, what is the adult now asking child to do? Do you think the poet is suggesting that this is unreasonable? Why? Now, last two lines. What were the last two lines? Now, the last two lines were, can't you make your own mind up about anything? The question is basically based on these two lines. Now, keep these lines in your mind. Okay, now we'll move forward. Now the question asks, what is the adult now asking the child to do? So first of all, the adult is asking the child to take up his own decisions. Like the adult is saying that I'm not going to tell you everything about it, like do this, do that. Now the adult wants the child to take up his own decisions, grow up and take up his own decisions. Now, do you think the poet is suggesting that this is unreasonable? Why? According to the poet, this is unreasonable. Why is it unreasonable? Just think about it. According to Michael Rosen, it is unreasonable because if somebody constantly tells you, do this, do that, sit up, stand up, you know, somebody is instructing you all the time, you are unable to think on your own. So that is why Michael Rosen just thinks that this is very unreasonable. How can I do things on my own when all the time my adults are instructing me on doing everything? So he thinks that it is unreasonable. Okay. Now moving on to the next question. Now the last question is, why do you think grown up says the kind of things mentioned in the poem? Now first of all, the first part of the question is, why do grown ups instruct us all the time? Now they instruct us all the time because they want their children to be well mannered and well behaved all the time. Whenever we go anywhere out in the society also, they want us to behave properly. Okay, so that is why they keep on telling us about what to do and what not to do. So the next part is it important that they teach children good manners and how to behave in public? Of course, it is very important that they teach children how to behave in public, how to eat, how to sit and how to stand, but they shouldn't be constantly instructing them on everything all the time. So that's all with this poem. I hope you've understood this poem. We'll be meeting in our next video discussing our next poem. Until then, take care.